What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Brio Beardscape. This thing is rad. It's a portable buzzer with a huge battery, a powerhouse of a motor, and blades made of ceramic rather than stainless steel, so they get corroded less and they have to be lubricated less often. I've been using the Brio Beardscape for like a year and a half. This thing is sweet. It's the same size as a normal razor or a buzzer. Comes with a series of attachments. It's got a nice little carrying case. The battery lasts 180 minutes of use. That's a lot of shaving, people. For me, that's like a full year of shaving, and it's awesome. I don't have to oil it every single time I use it. I probably do it every other one. But it's a nice piece of hardware. I've recommended it to a lot of people. Hit up Brio for Life. That's BRIO, the number 4life.com. Use code SMOKING at checkout to get the best price on the internet for the Brio Beardscape. That's Brio4life.com/smoking. We got Continental belts and hoses, people. You don't always think about them, but they are there waiting. Your belts and your hoses under your hood, they're made of rubber. If you live in a dry climate, they can crack, they can puncture, they can rupture, leaving you stranded on the side of the road. Even if you're not necessarily in a dry climate, it can happen with age. These parts get dry rotted, and it's not necessarily stuff you're looking at with every service. Continental makes belts and hoses to an OE quality. They are OE on tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, Ford, and GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line, and they're also OE on the majority of BMWs and Volkswagens. Now they've launched the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE Technology Series belts that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE Technology Series multi-V belt for 98% of the vehicles on the road in the U.S. and Canada. You get enough surprises working with cars and trucks, a belt shouldn't be one of them. Go with the Continental OE Technology Series multi-V belt, the belt with the OE pedigree. Get the full story at oetechnologyseries.com. And from now until July 1st, we've got the Overtaker's Pass shirt on our BlipShift store. Go to blipshift.com/TST, blipshift.com/TST. Get this exclusive limited edition t-shirt from now until July 1st only. Get it before it's gone forever. On this episode of the podcast, Michael Harley is in the studio. He is the executive editor at KBB.com, but he's also written for Autoblog, Autobytel, JD Power and Associates, and a whole bunch of other folks. He's a good man. He's a good driver. He's got a lot of experience, and I love having him on the show. Michael Harley of Kelley Blue Book on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
So my commute is 96.8 miles.
Fuck,
but you know,
each way, not each way.
Each way. But you have to understand. Remember, LA is this spider web of freeways. So sometimes, like today, I was on the 710, the 91, the 5, the 55, the 405, the 101. I mean, so if we were in Atlanta or like St. Louis, it would just be one road.
Yeah.
But because it's LA, Waze is my best
You
friend.
have, you have options.
Yeah. So I sit there and in the morning and I'm calculating, it's like an air traffic controller. Am I
time-
going over
but
San Bernardino or what?
What's
You don't
up,
wanna
everybody?
know.
Live audience. We have one. They're here. There's a few of them here. We started a few minutes early, so
Yeah,
there'll be some
I
catch-up.
wake at 4:10.
Wait, hang on a second. Because this is the Smoking Tire Podcast. Hello, everybody. It is a Monday. It is a Monday evening. It's been a nice weekend, and Michael Harley is in the studio. What up, brother?
Good to see you.
Wearing your Batman.
Yeah,
Representing.
you understand this was your fault.
That you bought one?
Yeah, remember we were in a bar in Lake Tahoe.
I think we were on a
some
press launch.
Porsche 911
The GTS
or something.
Yeah. And you were talking about the Porsche that you had ordered.
Yeah, I had ordered. It hadn't arrived yet, and Burkhalter said.
Follow Mr. Harley on Instagram. Yeah, Burkhalter was there.
Burkhalter pulled out his Batman, and I went, "Holy crap, that thing is gorgeous!" And
It'd be.
And then let's see,
I had one as well.
6 or 7 months later, my wife got me one for my birthday.
Do you like it?
I love the thing.
It's great.
I love the thing. And I get a lot of compliments. I mean, I was at a professional basketball game and someone yelled across, "Batman."
No.
And I'm looking I look over my right shoulder like, frickin' Batman's here? And then he
It was
points at
you!
his wrist and then he
Yeah.
just walks up the aisle to get his beer. And it was just like, people
You're in
recognize
a
it.
little club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
recognize it.
Yeah.
But you got rid of yours.
Well, yeah, but I came up with it though. I got rid of mine and traded it for 2 Rolexes.
Well done.
And this is one of them.
Well done.
This
That's
is the
very
Explorer
nice.
2 in black.
I remember when you got that.
I got one
That's
in
very
black
nice.
and I got one in white because I didn't know which one I'd like better. So I got both. And I knew that I would sell one back to Crown and Caliber for whatever I paid for it eventually.
Oh, they've gone up in value.
They have. But that went up in value so much. You're sitting on a gold mine with that Batman right there, my friend.
Yeah,
That
that's
went
gone
up in
up.
value so much, and it's still gone up since I sold mine.
And they've discontinued manufacturing. Now
That,
they're making it with a different
with
bracelet.
the Jubilee.
Yeah, the
yeah. So
Jubilee.
now those shot up in value. The second Rolex stops making something, they shoot up in value. And you are sitting on a little treasure chest right there, my friend.
good. So,
and I have an Explorer 2, which is a 42 millimeter. Which
This is a 40, I believe.
That's a
right?
40, and so for my fat 8-inch wrist, the 42 actually looks better on me.
Do
And
they
I'm
make
happy
anything
with my
bigger than
purchase.
42?
This the 42 Rolex has the Yachtmaster 2 is also 42, but it's like thicker than this. This is the biggest diameter they go.
It's
Rolexes
interesting
are
'cause
not big.
They've been
by-
getting bigger and bigger. My wife's got one from about 10, 15 years ago, and it's tiny.
little, yeah,
Oh,
especially if
super-
it's a ladies' watch.
And now they looked at it and they said that's not worth anything because nobody wants that anymore.
yeah, no one wants to buy a 32 or a 34.
Yeah, it's like a 32.
Yeah, even my wife, who's Hannah, who's a little petite girl, is like 5'2". She wears a 36. She wears a men's watch from the 90s.
Do you know who Jody Lai is?
No, who's Jody Lai?
It's a Canadian automotive journalist. Super sweet girl.
Mm-hmm.
She wears the one that's all green,
Oh.
and it's a
Well,
40-inch.
Yeah, so the green dial or green bezel.
Green bezel and green
So
dial.
that's called a Hulk. That's a 50th or no, that's the newer version of the 50th anniversary. All right, let me back it up. They made a 50th anniversary Submariner beginning in 2006.
Okay.
It had a green bezel and a black dial. It's called the Kermit.
Right. I remember that one.
I have one of those. My dad got me one of those when I moved to LA as a going away present, and I wore it every day for 10 years.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I knew it was awesome, but I didn't know it was unique or special because I just didn't know anything about watches. But people started complimenting me on it, and that's kind of how I got in. Oh, this is special. What's special about that one? What's special about that one? Blah, blah, blah. Hers is the newer version of that, which is a green bezel and a green dial. It's pretty fire. They call that one the Hulk.
I actually like the Kermit a little better than the Hulk.
I do too.
I think there's too much green, and if you look at it in weird light, the greens don't really look the same green.
That's true because the
One's a metallic look to it. and
yeah,
other's
because
more
the
about-
the
other's
dial
the enamel.
material is
Right.
ceramic, and then the bezel material is ceramic. Excuse me, where's it? Here,
there it
so,
is.
Yeah, here's both.
Yeah, see, I
For
like
your
that one. But I
viewing
like
pleasure,
the Kermit
people.
better.
The left is the Kermit. That's the older one. The black dial. That's the one I've got. And the right is the Hulk, which has this sort of glowy green
Does that
dial
come
as
with
well.
the leather band, or is that
No,
just
someone
Bob
put a
it
leather
on?
band on it, but they both come with the oyster bracelet like you've got. But this one's newer. This one's older. This one has a steel or an aluminum bezel, and this one has a ceramic bezel. Mine, the older one, has a nice kind of fade happening.
Does
on
that
it.
get beat up in aluminum though?
It will. It can get scratched and it can get faded. Yeah, but some people like that. You know, I didn't really notice it until I put mine next to a brand new one that somebody had. But like shit, mine's got kind of an ill fade going on, and a fade is good.
Fade's good.
Fade is if you have a fade without like scratches. That's like the best it gets. Like they call it a ghost bezel.
Put it out on your roof for about 20 years.
Well, they're fake aging them. You know, there's people are fake aging.
Put them under
yeah.
like UV lights.
Yeah, well, all kind of shit, chemicals, right? So like something
Like
like this.
that.
Yeah, so this watch would have been sold. This was a black bezel when it was new, and these are exposed to the elements, and they get called what's called a ghost bezel. So if you have a bezel that's ghosted like this, where it turns a gray, so the more gray it is with the fewer scratches it has, that's like as approaching like a perfect vintage watch. If your bezel or your dial is so ghosted that it's like no longer the color that it came from the factory, and here you hear in this one you combine a ghosted bezel with creamy lume, right? So in the lume dials turn this yellow
That
color.
looks like it's been beat to hell. That like it came out.
That's
of-
probably worth fucking
cadaver.
25. That's probably worth 25 G's, dude.
Wow.
What, because these watches, you buy that story, right? Like with a car, a survivor condition car.
right.
That's what you're looking at.
It's got pedigree. It's got
totally.
history.
Yeah, and you want the story with that.
Wow.
Michael Harley of Kelley Blue Book is on the Smoking Tire podcast
Thanks for pulling
today.
up the site.
I'll plug you. I'll plug you all day, son. What's happening with you? Besides rocking your Batman, what's up in your life?
Doing
right
a whole
now?
bunch of stuff. I've been listening to, doing a lot of catch up on your podcast. And
thank
I
you.
was laughing.
A lot
I
of
think it
road
was-
time for you.
I think a crap load of road time. Like I said, I get up at 4:40. I hit the road at 4:40 in the
Oh
morning.
yeah, before the beginning of the show went actually live, you were telling me about your absurd commute, which Lynn Woodward, one of your folks,
Yeah, she only commutes half as far.
no, but she was telling me about your
Yeah,
commute on the show,
And,
she was like, "Oh, you think I have a fucked commute? You should
Yes.
see what Harley does." So you live in Thousand Oaks.
I live in Newbury Park proper.
Oh,
which is
yeah,
actually
okay.
a few miles up the road. I live in Newbury Park.
That's
and
like
I
well
drive-
north of Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
I drive
people.
down to LA to Irvine. So basically, when they blow up the LA basin map,
Yeah.
I go from the top corner to the bottom.
I'm
corner,
actually-
the pure hell of LA.
I have to show
There is no worse commute.
I don't think there could be
Unless I had to swim to Manhattan or
I don't
something
even really
across the
think
Hudson.
it Newbury Park to Irvine. I don't know if this will really show how
It may
bad
ask,
this
it may
is.
ask for a second monitor.
It's from where here. Where
I
is-
saw it
it's
for a from- second. It was right
It's
there.
right here.
All the way down
Oh,
to Irvine.
it's
Here,
so
just put-
Newbury Park.
I think it's
Irvine.
thinking about it right now.
It's trying to figure out.
There it is.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's it. But you see, I have all these different options.
You do have several.
So I can
options,
change the
yeah.
scenery up, and
And if you time it right, you could drop over the hill here and then come down PCH.
Malibu, and I
too.
do
You could
that.
make
And
that
like
happen.
tonight,
Yeah.
I'll actually go up PCH
Oh my
and through
God.
Malibu Canyon. But take a look.
It's
right
the most
now, 2
LA thing
hours.
ever to talk about our commutes, but this is the worst one.
This is a bit. So I
Like
did it.
my entire life exists, people. Right, my whole life exists. Like we're right here, right now. We're where this is, and my entire life exists basically there. That's bad.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, obviously we have a ride board, and I can pick whatever car is hanging on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, I'll take whatever's fast and fun," and then realized that I was visiting the gas station about every 48 hours.
Oh
And
no,
it's a pain in the
This is
ass.
going to become a fuel economy
So
discussion.
this-
I hope not.
so
That'd be
this-
depressing.
Then all of a sudden, I went out and got I asked Honda for a Clarity plug-in
Oh.
hybrid. So now I'm getting like 98 miles per gallon. So now the commute doesn't matter anymore.
The Clarity is not. Is it still hydrogen? Is
They
this
have,
regular?
They have an FCV, which is
Okay.
a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle.
Okay, yeah.
And they have a plug-in one that does like 50 miles on a battery, and then another couple hundred miles on gas.
Okay, so kind of like a Volt, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the one
of
with the funky
it's
wheel
one of
spats,
the
huh?
ugliest vehicles. My apologies to the entire
No,
Honda PR team. It is
this-
one of the ugliest vehicles on the
ever
road.
made.
And I told him I wanted it in silver, and it's got carpool stickers, and I'm invisible to the cops. And I'll do 85 miles an hour in the morning on cruise control at 4:30 in the morning, and the highway patrol will actually just drive by me and shake in disgust and just keep going.
You know what I find is so amazing is like the section here from the middle of the doors up, right? If you go between the base of the windshield, base of the rear window, middle of the doors up, that is a Ford Fusion,
It is.
right? And then there's a Civic here. There's
Oh, that's
a Accord
absolutely
back-
Civic in the front.
right? And yet, God, is this terrible? How much do you think this spat over the rear wheel here gains you in miles per gallon?
So this is
Do
the
you
funny
know this?
part. Any of our listeners out there, if you can find the drag coefficient on a Honda Clarity, Honda won't publish it. Because I think what they did is they went to this thing with this great optimism of we're going to build this car that has this incredibly low drag coefficient of probably like 2.5, 2.4, and then Tesla comes out with a Model 3 and does a 1.9 or something.
Is that what the Tesla Model 3
Tesla's
drag?
really, really low. I'm not sure
1.9.
exactly,
Wow,
but it's
I didn't know
really low. Look up Model 3 drag coefficient. But now Honda will not talk about the drag coefficient whatsoever. And you
Really?
can't find it anywhere. Where's
What is the Model 3?
What car is the best drag coefficient? Click on that.
Let's see. Where are we
Model
at here?
3, 0.23.
0.23. That's pretty good.
notice
Although,
there's no
in
Honda Clarity.
fairness, 2013 Mercedes-Benz CLA Blue Efficiency
Pretty
0.22. Yeah, and the 5 Series.
Well, the 5 Series on skinny like 205 tires.
Oh, is it? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
what they do
Okay,
is,
the Efficient
you know-
Dynamics Edition.
Usually tires, every time you add another 10 or 15 millimeters
Yeah.
of width, you're adding another tenth of a point in drag coefficient.
But let's give a shout out though to the 2016 Mercedes E-Class that does a
pretty slick.
0.23.
It's pretty
a
slick.
fucking E-Class.
yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the E-Class.
But I don't know why the Clarity looks the way it does. It generally, it's
Is it nice to drive?
very comfortable. They've got acoustic glass. It floats. It weighs
Yeah.
4,100 pounds or
yeah,
something like that. So it just glides along. The biggest problem I've got is it's got the low rolling resistance tires, which are the opposite of Cup 2s.
Yeah.
So when in LA everybody jams on their brakes, I start applying the brakes, the wheels automatically start locking because they have no grip.
Are you actually getting like
and
ABS?
I
like
just sit
60?
there and just go, oh shit. And 2 or 3 times, sorry, Sage is Honda PR. I've almost totaled the whole front of the car just because of plowing into someone. It just doesn't want to stop. You got 4,100 pounds on narrow.
Can you use your editorial budget to improve the situation a little bit?
No, I'm not going to put Cup 2s on it. But last year,
put Cup 2s.
So
but like
last
maybe
year I
some
commuted
Pilot Sport
on
all
a,
seasons or something.
Last year I commuted back and forth in a Kia Stinger GT with the Michelin Pilot Force, Sport Force, and that thing was great, but it drank gas.
Yeah. If you're doing 200 miles a day,
it drank gas.
You're almost like prime Tesla candidate if you installed like some super crazy juice
objective
charger
is
in
for
your house.
2020. I want to get a Tesla Model 3 because I can plug it in both ends. I've got a level 2
Oh,
charger
if you
at
can
home.
charge at each end.
I got a level 2 charger at the office.
Yeah, you
but,
can get one.
Did you see what I took home? Don't bang on the table.
Yeah, as you got it resonates a little. Sorry.
Last night I took over the weekend I had a G63.
Oh, it's on your Instagram. Michael Harley on Instagram. This is the new Javagan. What color is that? Is
It's
it
an
brown?
olive green, and it's a Designo $6,500 option or something.
Yeah.
But it on the highway. What do you think my highway mileage was? No stopping, just because what I do
just
now
a
is
cruise.
because I do this every single morning. I've gotten to the point where I could do it in 71 minutes, 86 miles, and I reset the odometer. I pull out the GPS, everything.
Yeah.
So what is the cruise? It was the I'll just tell you, it was the lowest vehicle I've tested in the past 3 years.
Highway miles per gallon.
Highway,
and it's a
100%.
63. Yeah.
Cruise
Without
control.
traffic.
What is it? I think it's a 9-speed automatic, a 4-liter,
4-liter twin turbo, right?
4-liter twin turbo, 577 horsepower.
I'm gonna go with 11.4.
Oh, come on! It was 17. 17.
That's the worst you've ever seen.
17.6 because most cars just even like a McLaren 720 did like 26.
Well, a 720 is extremely efficient.
And it goes super high gears. And
I just had
cruises.
the Huracan Evo this weekend. Have you had a go in that yet?
Yeah, I was there with Kristen.
Oh, you were there for the press launch,
Yeah.
right? So I took one of the launch cars home for a couple of days, and I got 18 and a half on a highway drive.
That's really good.
That's only 1 mile per gallon better than the worst you've ever tested.
But
Mike.
how do you drive? How do you drive?
I had my wife in the car and I was driving pretty chill.
So what'd you think of the 4-wheel steer on that car?
So I thought I actually found that it's this is my friend came out with me and did a real cinematic pan for me.
That's a really long pan. For
pan.
having no cars in the image.
Well, he was emphasizing the birds chirping in the background, which you can't actually really hear so much.
The car sounds sweet.
It sounds the business. So the 4-wheel steer, sort of like Porsche, I think in tight maneuvering, parking lots, U-turns for photos and shit like that.
Oh, it's great.
Amazing. And actually, I thought in the fast stuff, it did a pretty good job approximating the aero shit you got with the Performante. I thought this car was just, without a stopwatch, I could not tell the performance difference from Performante to this.
Absolutely.
I couldn't, and it rode better.
Did Kristen tell you at the launch, it was sort of a customer event? We were sort of thrown out on Big Willow.
Yeah. Big Willow's a gnarly place.
It's a gnarly place, but we got
yeah.
2 or 3 hot laps, and that was about it. So what I really wanted to do was to try, because I had the Performante for a whole week, and I took it up Mulholland.
Yeah.
I took it on all my favorite back roads.
Did you have the coupe or the Spyder?
The coupe?
Okay.
The coupe.
Because you're tall.
Yeah.
You're taller than me even.
And the
the Spyder,
I'm tilting my head.
the
'cause that's
Spyder's
how
unbearable if you're over like 5'11".
But the
Coupe's
same thing you
better.
were talking when you were did the podcast with Kristen is that I'm 6'2", and every single Lambo, the second you hand me a helmet, my head goes sideways.
Yeah, that's the end of that.
And all I keep thinking is if I'm going to hit a big bump and snap a couple vertebrae. But like you said, when I get in it, I hit my head. When I sit in it, I get my head.
Yeah.
And the Italian guys come around and go, what's the wrong? What's the wrong? Just recline the seat. So I recline the seat, and pretty soon my knees are in the dashboard.
Yeah.
And they're giving me the thumbs up like, you're ready now. And I said, but I can't. I
can't turn the wheel.
I can't touch the pedals. I can't do anything else. So
This is not the car's fault, Michael.
no. And I don't have that problem in the 720.
No, the 720 is a
720
is
is
a
just
tall
a dream.
man's
Right, right.
supercar. It's fantastic. Or a tall woman's
it's
supercar.
really nice.
I'm sorry for excluding women from that statement.
But this thing sounds so incredible.
Yeah, and I drove it for 4.5 days. I went to San Diego and back with it. I stuffed it full of shit.
Do you put all your shit in the nose?
I put because it's all-wheel drive, their trunk is a joke.
Oh, it's
the
like a
trunk
Carrera
is a
4 has a
joke.
restricted
It's
nose.
tiny.
Yeah.
So I have like a I don't know, briefcase plus, let's call it, size bag. Maybe like a not a carry-on, not a roll, but like it's small. So we got that, and actually there's a garment hanger behind the passenger seat. So
There's a little shelf back there.
There was not the shelf, but we were able to hang Hannah's like dresses.
But
against
Hannah
the
had to go
bulkhead.
forward a couple inches.
Yeah, but she's short, so it didn't matter. It was fine in traffic, other than it being kind of uncomfortable. Like the ride was lovely, quiet mode was quiet. It's got this new stereo in it that's like better with the touch screen thing. Although it was kind of buggy. It was a little bit. I had some trouble with it, honestly. I had some trouble with the stereo. If I'm totally honest, it was being a pain in the ass.
It's got a quite a graphic show on that center console too.
There's a lot going
you
on
could sit there, and we're on the track, and they're like, "Play with all the stuff," and I'm like, "I don't need to see the." I'm in turn 8-9 at
Willow
$130,
Springs, yeah.
and I'm supposed to be check out the steering wheel angle right
Yeah.
now, and I'm like, "Who the hell's looking at that stuff?" I
don't-
mean, now that your passengers are white knuckling it, they're not
Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah.
but it's cool in the showroom.
It's
Or cars and coffee
It's a
to-
mildly hokey gimmick, but ultimately they continue to evolve the cars in a good way. I mean, is it bigger in side?
But
No,
they're also holding it's a genuine Lambo, and
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows instantly it's a Lambo. And it just every time they make one, it gets better and better.
yeah. And they've made it, if you fit in it properly, if you're the right size for the car, like there's no reason you couldn't daily drive in a car. I mean, there's no.
How do you fit in yours?
It's roomier than this. Getting in and out of it sucks. but-
crash standards. I mean,
Yeah, no, totally.
Your
and I
A-pillars
also,
are the size of.
yeah, I don't want to know what happens if you crash one, but I do have to take my shoes off. That's the bad thing about it. But once I take my shoes off, it's
Is it because
fine.
the foot box isn't
It's
tall
narrow?
enough?
It's really narrow. Even if I have driving shoes on, I can't. That's kind of annoying, but I don't care. I drive it barefoot.
Have
Fuck
you
it.
ever driven a Cobra?
Like not a real one? I've
Like an
driven
AC Cobra?
replicas. Yeah, I had one of those.
Oh, your feet are just shoved over the side.
Yeah, it was terrible. I didn't like them at all. And I drove the Superformance GT40 where I had to take my shoes off as well. And that car,
I
was
could
worth
barely
it.
fit in that car.
That thing is real little. It depends on which side you drive on too. I drove on a left because they make it. You can get any possible configuration from them. You can go left-hand drive, right-hand drive. You can go right-hand drive, sill shifter. You can go right-hand drive, center shifter. You can get anything you want.
You can configure it.
Yeah. So I drove it left-hand drive, center shifter, but you can do anything. So a lot of them, they do right-hand drive, sill shifter to keep it real, I don't know, authentic or whatever. But yeah, depending on how you get them, like the right-hand drive ones, the pedals are all kinds of fucked up. What else is going on? What else have you driven that's like real nice or real shit?
Let's see.
Where have you been that's been amazing?
I just drove the Bentley Continental GT.
Oh, please tell me everything.
The convertible version.
Tell
and
me
it was
everything.
absolutely gorgeous. And I can
no.
come out. I can come
I
out.
sincerely
now.
apologize, people, for just like
It is
leaving
not a clarity.
whatever picture up I left up for like 20 minutes. My bad.
But the new Continental GT is now based on a shares platforms with the Panamera.
Yeah.
And the previous one shared platforms with the Phaeton.
Which
And was more of a front-wheel drive, all-wheel, a front nose-heavy all-wheel drive system. And a Haldax system, I believe, on the last one.
I don't want to say that definitively, but I think
But
it's
to me,
based
every
on
time,
a front
every
wheel
time
drive
I drove
system.
the previous Bentley GTs, I just never wanted to throw them into a corner. They always just felt like they were just
was kind
they
of
were
fun.
just rolling over the front outside wheel, and it just had that the front wheel drive feel to the steering wheel, like the nose is just doing too much. A good looking car, a nice cruiser car, but I never feel like I really wanted to mess with it.
Yeah.
And finally went over to Spain and drove the new convertible,
Spain.
and it was gorgeous. just absolutely freaking gorgeous. It now feels like, it's I think it's a 60-40 torque split or 50-50, and it just feels right.
Someone, I forget who was on the show a couple weeks ago. One of the heavy press car hitters. It wasn't Dan Neal, but it was one of them types. And he brought the coupe by here, and fuck me, is that some interior? That is
gorgeous.
Ridiculous.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And we had the convertible, and we drove it all the way up in the mountains, and we went up to where it was like 39 degrees, and we just put the neck warmers
the air
on.
scarf? Yeah.
And but we made a pact, and I said,
who's this
I think it was Jason Harper and myself, and we said, you know what, we are not going to put the roof up. And the entire time we drove, roof down, drove on the coast, and it was 70 degrees. And the thing
That's a
just
great
growls and it pops and just hauls ass.
Kristen Lee and I in Arizona for the 720S. We made a pact. 720S Spyder. We're not.
I was
gonna
on
put
that
the roof
launch
up.
with you.
Yeah, and then it hailed.
Yes.
We tried to go push through the hail. At a certain point, we're like, "This is a stupid game."
I did that. Angus McKenzie and I years and years ago. There was an Aston Martin Virage.
Oh,
And it was just that. It was like this really awkward time in Aston Martin's
like
history.
early '90s Taurus steering wheel kind of thing.
They came out with a Virage, and they put these high performance Pirelli. I don't think they were Courses, but they were pre-zeros, and we drove it in. Let's see, about down by the Strait of Gibraltar, way down, and it started hailing and snowing on us. And
God.
Aston Martin was mortified.
Would it be this Virage?
No, no.
Like one of these?
This one. Yeah.
This?
That's
This
the
one? Here?
Virage.
Orange or here?
I'd go with the orange one. That's
Like
the
the
Virage.
newer one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 'cause there was a Virage
What year
from
is
the
it?
90s.
2011, 2012.
Okay, well, there's a Virage from the fucking 90s, too.
And
I
that's
don't
why
know.
they brought the name back.
Yeah.
But this was such a short-lived car.
Yeah, it's
And,
basically a molded-on body kit for the DB9, pretty
Right,
much, isn't
right.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, it's actually quite a pretty car.
It's a pretty car, but I've never been. To me, an Aston Martin is more of a cruiser car. It's never been something I say, "Hey, let's go hit the canyons in."
Yeah. Have you driven
Even the new one, I'm still not. It just doesn't feel right.
The new Vantage?
Yeah.
The new Vantage to me,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But it's
Goes
like,
like a motherfucker.
super hypersensitive steering.
Yeah.
And
Real twitchy.
It's got shitloads of power. Thank
Yeah.
you, Mercedes-Benz.
Yes.
But it just doesn't. It's not one of those cars you feel like, hey, where's the nearest corner? I want to go fly.
But it's also not very good in traffic. I've said this a bunch of times. People on the podcast have heard me say this so many times.
You want to pull up the new one?
Yeah, whatever. I have found that car in traffic to have the grabbiest brakes combined with the most aggressive idle creep out there. And so it's a really bad
So
combo.
it's creeping at like 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, like the Hellcat.
You like
too.
that launch color?
I had the launch color. It wasn't the launch color. I liked better. I had two different colors. One was like white, I think, and the green one. I liked this green better. This car actually works in nuclear colors. Strangely enough.
It's a good looking car. I still think it's got a lot of the gaping. It's
think
sucking a lot of air in.
I think the end of the previous generation will age much better
Yeah.
and ultimately be worth more. Like if I was looking to buy something in that class right now, I'd be looking at like a 15 to 17.
No, the truth is,
V8
you go buy like a
Vantage S.
2002 Vantage for like 38 grand.
Same
Put
thing.
some new wheels and tires on it, and your
Yes.
neighbor thinks you got a brand new
I
Aston
know,
Martin.
I know. And I remember back in like 06.
And you get like a
being
V8 manual.
Yeah. They were fun. They were slow, but they sounded right and they were good. They were fun as shit.
And it's a looker. It's one of those
Yeah.
cars. And, I say, you and I both drive a whole bunch of cars. And when you go to the gas station, that's probably the most telling part as far as what the public thinks of it. You pull up in an Aston Martin and you're cool. And
Yes.
you're very approachable. You pull up in a Ferrari and people are like, what a dick. I'm just going to like take a picture under their arm. They're taking the snappies. But it's very interesting. So an Aston Martin, you're cool. A big bad Mustang, everyone thinks you're cool.
Yeah.
Cool Camaros.
the Countach, you are fucking the king.
See,
at the
that's a
gas
cool
station.
car.
Yeah, yeah.
But on a brand new Lambo, look
No,
at that
you
dick
know,
with a
it's,
Lambo.
it's so funny because I'm driving around this. I just gave back the Evo today, and as I'm driving it around, it's actually funny because of how the roof comes down. I can't see above like the wheel line of any other car, so people could be looking at me. If they are, I can't see them, so I don't fucking know. I'd have to bend my neck in the most awkward action to see them. But like when I see other people driving Huracans, I think about them.
Right.
What people thought about guys driving Countaches in 1987. And here I am, like, looking down on them. dick I am.
It's funny. I've got a 20-year-old son. His name is Patrick, and we always see, in LA, you see guys driving crazy cars all the time, and you're like, what does that guy not want? And he doesn't want someone to come up and like thumbs down, just like to piss him off. So we'll go out of our way to piss people off.
I've had a couple. I forget. I've had some people like shout like terrible things at me before when I'm driving sports cars, but like not really. Usually it's pretty cool. One
it's
lady
usually
came
very
on-
positive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's people who say things under their breath. They don't say shit out like screaming at me, but like
I drove
Usually
a
people are about
Chiron, a Bugatti Chiron.
Ooh, how was that? I've not
Probably
had it
2.5
go.
weeks ago. So it was one of those things that this is an embarrassing story, but about when it made its first rounds about a year and a half ago, Bugatti called up and said, "Hey, we want you to drive the Chiron," and I just accepted a Toyota Corolla trip up to the Pacific Northwest, and I just booked my flights. You know how once you're booked your flights, your hotels, and I'm like, damn, I'm
Yeah.
already set. And they called up and said, "We really want you to drive the Chiron. We've got one. We've got a 2 or 3 hour window for you." And I just sulked away and said, "I got to pass, and I'm going to go drive a Corolla." And I was so angry the entire time of the Corolla, meaning my, the processed food up there. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be driving a Bugatti now.
Funny.
So thankfully, it came full circle. I said, keep me in mind next time you get an opening. And Michael Haas, who's now got the Bugatti account.
I don't know this person, but can you introduce me to him, and I
need to
can
meet
buy him
Michael Haas.
diamonds and coffee?
And he's got a bunch of Ducati. He's got Bugatti.
Well, I just got my first Ducati press bike.
I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
So anyway, he calls up and he says, "Hey, Mike,
Thank you.
what are you doing tomorrow afternoon? We've got a Chiron in Santa Monica. We've got a 2 or 3 hour window for you." And I said, "I'll take it," even though it's the world's worst place to go. So I picked it up, and we spent about 3 hours in it and drove all the way up the coast, did Mulholland, did Encinal. Now
Must have fucking destroyed Encinal.
So I
This
had
car must
driven-
mob up that road so hard.
It's just so big. So I drove the Veyron, the first Veyron, the 1001
Like the 05.
horsepower.
Yeah.
The very first Veyron from LA to Phoenix. And it was one of the, and it was
probably a
it was
lovely
a
drive, I
really
bet.
cool drive. It was the middle of the summer. The car was hotter than hell because it had the glass roof.
Oh, God.
And once you sit in one of these cars that has such a big ass engine, there's so much heat soak that the floor was getting hot. My arms hurt. And we had
Especially like in this car, in a lot of
yeah.
cars, you have coolant lines and hot oil
Running
lines
down-
that run down the side
running
of
down
the
the
body.
sill. So you could
Yeah.
feel the heat coming off the sill. You had heat in the transmission tunnel between your legs. Even all that.
This
shit
is why,
there.
for the record, 911s are good. 'Cause
Yes, everything's in your
everything
ass.
is behind you.
And there's cool air blowing
Yeah.
everything behind you. So we're crossing the desert in Phoenix, and I've got the air conditioner on full blast, and I'm like, "Is there any way to make this thing cooler?" And they're like, "Sorry, this is the way it is." But that was the first
Well, I
generation.
mean, you listen, your expectations for $1 million are just too high.
Well, most owners are not going to go 8 hours behind the wheel.
But that's why you buy a fucking Volkswagen built supercar, so you can.
Right.
That's the entire point.
But the Chiron is nice because
Yeah.
completely redesigned, much better cooling system. We sat in traffic for about an hour going up PCH, crawling from, Santa Monica Pier to Topanga to Sunset, just crawling.
Yeah.
And then it finally opened up. The car hauls ass, much better throttle tip in, no turbo lag. I mean, the Veyron was, did you ever drive a Veyron?
I drove a Veyron for like 10 minutes.
You step on the gas and it was like a 747 taxiing. The pilot, you hear the pilot go whoosh, and then you look out the window and then you start creeping and then he throttles back and then you glide for another 50 feet on the tarmac. That's how the Veyron was. It just had so much freaking power, but there was so much lag.
Yeah.
This thing, you step on it, it's got sequential turbo. So the first turbo kicks in from like 0 to 3,500 RPM, and then all hell breaks loose because the second one kicks in. And I was on Canaan. There was a little short passing stretch on Canaan,
Yeah.
and I just looked over it, and there's a dude that comes in the right seat.
Of course, it comes with a guy.
Anything over $1 million comes with a dude.
Yeah.
And never come with beautiful women. They always come with a dude.
No, if it's a Lamborghini and you're at a track day, then they
Yeah,
only
yeah,
hire hot chicks. It's
Yes.
like it's one of those things that nobody wants to talk about because nobody wants to change it.
be politically incorrect.
I know.
So I mashed the throttle, and it just lights up like a Saturn V, and I was just like, holy shit. And it was a really fun, good, I'm like, I'd walk, 100 miles to go drive another one again.
Did you fit in it okay?
I fit fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't fit
Because
in the Veyron very well.
The Chiron is so much better than a Veyron. And I said, is it worth $1 million? It's worth $1 million more.
Wow. $1 $1 million more.
$1 million more, but it's so good. And this one was the same color you got on your screen right
I mean,
now.
I had a
blue carbon
go
fiber.
in a Koenigsegg one, in a Gara R on the runway for like 10 minutes. But I got a runway. Like it was 10 minutes on a runway. And I went, this is $2 million. Absolutely. There's no question this is $2 million. 1,000%. I don't have $2 million, but I know what that feels like now. And that's the baseline.
Did you drive have you ever driven a Pagani Huayra?
No, I've been in very close. I haven't driven one. No.
So I didn't think that was worth the money.
I've heard not great things about how they
It just
drive.
wasn't. I took it on Angeles Crest all the way up and down, and it just wasn't sorted out. Is probably the best word. You know, the sum of its parts didn't add up to something that really made me feel bloody. 175 miles an hour on closed roads.
175 miles an hour on Angeles Crest.
I mean, just hauled. But
I had.
I mean, and a stunning mechanical.
I don't particularly think they look very good either. It's not my.
but
Let's just call it not my
Matt,
taste.
when you go into the corners, these little flaps start
I
coming
know.
out of the nose, and you just get the goosebumps.
You know, this car is the equivalent of one of those watches that has like 4 tourbillons in it, and it just doesn't really even do anything. But it's just the fact
There's
that you
no way those flaps do anything.
Right,
at-
like, there's
at
a
40
watch.
miles an hour in a corner. You're not
Right.
getting 90 pounds of downforce.
like I have to show you. Like there's a watch. I spelled it wrong. Quator watch. There's a watch that's. Oh man.
Interesting.
Sorry. It's hard to think about two things at the
I
same
see.
time. So there's watches that have like multiple escapements and like multiple tourbillons, and like they don't really necessarily do anything. Like they're just like complicated for complexity's sake. And I picked a bad picture. This is an MB&F and it's fucking beautiful. But like that's what like the Huayra is. It's like it's complexity for complexity's
Right, when you
sake.
get in
and-
there and you look at the... you said a few minutes ago, the 4-wheel steer on the Evo was nice.
Yeah.
So I had this, the Huayra, up on Angeles Crest for doing photography in the industry, we have to drive back and forth, and we usually go up a quarter mile, flip a bitch, go back a quarter mile, flip a bitch, and it's a pain in the ass. This Huayra was like a 15-point turn.
Oh.
And it kept stalling because the differential was so tight
That it would
would
lock
like
it up?
lock itself up.
Yeah.
So here I am, perpendicular to Angeles Crest, no cops on either end. And I'm
Stalled
like,
million-dollar
shit,
car.
a stalled $1 million car. So I'd lean over and put it in neutral, hit the start button again, and it was a cumbersome drive. But it was one of those things that everyone always says, "Have you ever driven a Pagani Huayra?"
Yeah. A cumbersome drive, it would be probably how I would describe the Countach as well. Like the Countach dynamically is great on Angeles Crest, but yeah, cumbersome if you have to make 3-point turns and shit is an appropriate one.
And you got manual
Same
steering,
thing,
right?
Yeah, and the same thing with that very tight diff, where if you try to make really tight turns, it like locks up and
Right.
gets chattery. And I thought it was broken. They're like, nah, that's how they do it. I wanted to show you this real quick because this is the watch I was looking for. This is
Wow.
the Roger Dubuis Quator.
That's the entire face right
so
there.
all this fucking thing does is tell time. It doesn't do anything else. And so it has
It looks like it makes coffee.
right, and so it has 1, 2, 3, 4 escapements. Okay, so it has one mainspring, 4 escapements, and 1 set of hands. So what the car equivalent to this is, okay? Imagine you had a car that had one engine that broke into 4 different gearboxes, all of which were synchronized together, but then came back together to only drive one wheel. That is the equivalent of this watch.
So
what
super
they've done.
complicated. To
And
do
all it
something
does is
everybody else does with one engine.
But it's $1 million because these 4 escapements are spinning and going back and forth, and
That's
they're
$1
all in
million?
yeah, and they're all in tourbillon cages. So this watch has like so much movement happening in that if you see someone wearing it, you just go, money. That's money.
Well, this guy's got to wear a cloth on his wrist. To
yeah,
wear it.
that's probably on like a pillow. It's probably on yeah.
That's crazy.
Let me see if there's one on a guy's wrist.
But one thing for the listeners, don't confuse the price of the car with how much fun they are to drive.
No.
And
No.
people are like, "Oh, $1 million car's got to be $1 million worth of pleasure."
No.
And
definitely not.
it's $1 million worth of looks and gawks.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, hey, I'm going to grab the keys first.
Yeah, and there's other cars that are. I think you can have a ton of fun for a fairly reasonable amount of money these days. I actually think that there's a lot of value in something like the Veloster N, which I had
That's
to
a
go
great
in.
car.
It was rowdy, so
That's a
fun.
great little car.
Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah.
That's a great little car. Oh, you know what? I also just went back to Road Atlanta and drove the GT2 RS back to back with the
Jesus.
GT3 RS.
Oh, who was just there for that? Carlos Lago? I think he was there.
I think Carlos was with me at the same
there.
time.
Yeah.
And, chasing Hurley Haywood around. And it was sunny and dry, which was nice because last time I drove on that track in the GT3 RS, it was downpours, buckets. And Porsche said,
sounds-
"Who cares? This is perfect." And
Don't
shit
you hate
wrecks-
when they say that shit? I went to a
They
racing
didn't even
school.
blink. And I'm like, "Can you give me some rain tires?" And they're like, "No, this is perfect."
I went to Skip Barber when I was first starting out. I mean, maybe like 2005. I didn't know anything, and I went, Skip Barber, learn, right? And I'm in them open wheel cars.
This is one in Phoenix.
This was at Lime Rock.
Okay.
And it was these. I was living in New York at the time. It's those super shit pile open wheel formula cars they had, and it was pissing rain. And the instructors were like, "You guys are so lucky. Nobody gets to do this." And I'm just going, "Fuck you! Like I'm cold and wet, and this is terrible, and I'm gonna crash." And by the way, I did. I did crash.
But you're right. They look at it like you're a rookie cop, and you walk out the door and you get held up and shot at, and a car crash, and they're like, "How lucky are you? Your first day."
Your first
And you're
day.
like, hang on a sec. I wanted to go rescue a kitten in a tree on my first day.
Maybe a speeding ticket. Can we
But I mean, you're right. They look at it and they're like, Hurley's like, last time was pouring. You're going to learn the car control. I'm like, I'm going to put your $175,000 car into a wall. You don't look at it that way. I'm scared shitless.
I'm going
You're
to test
handing me
your
the keys.
safety features.
And, but it was fascinating driving the GT2 RS, which is a turbocharged,
Yes.
against the GT3 RS, which is an NA engine. And
It really makes the 3 feel kind of slow and manageable, doesn't it?
But I really like the 3 because you could hold it at between
Oh,
5
no.
and 7,000 RPM.
Hey, folks, if you're watching, I am sorry for leaving apparently that other picture on the screen. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I pressed 2. Oh, I see what happens when I just got it. When I type, all right. I just learned, I'm learning, sorry, Harley, I'm learning production in real time. So what happens is I use the keys 1 and 2 to switch between my cameras. But when I type GT2 RS in the thing, it also switches.
because you hit the
because
2.
it's 2. I need to reassign
Now,
a key
what if you
that
use these keys up top?
I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try. If I press- yeah, it still works. All right. Well, sorry, people.
So we can't talk about cars that have a 1 or a 2 in them.
I just have to find a new hotkey. I
So
think.
McLaren 720's out. We got a whole bunch of cars we can't talk
I know.
about.
I need to make new hotkeys. I'm sorry. All right. So turbocharged engine versus NA engine. A lot more power as well. Power and torque from the GT2 RS.
But for someone that drives on the track, you want throttle response that's easily manageable. And so when you're let's go back to 8 and 9. Willow, big Willow. 8 and 9. If you want to be able to press the accelerator pedal a millimeter and get a little more power. On the GT2, you get this kick in your ass.
Yeah.
And at that point, if you're right on the edge of adhesion, the last thing you want is another 70 horsepower.
Yeah.
The GT2 RS is a beast if you're a professional.
Yeah.
And on the Autobahn or telling anyone to F off,
Yeah.
it'd be spectacular. But for most of us on the amateur to semi-talented level, the GT3 RS is just incredible.
So Spike,
screams.
Spike Ferriston, right?
Yeah.
Spike, my buddy. He had a GT3 RS, and he swapped it for the 2 RS for street driving, and he prefers the 2 on the street.
I would argue the 2 is probably better on the street
Yeah.
because you've got the turbocharged and you can blast away from people. The 3 you really have to wind out.
Yeah.
But it redlines at like 8,500 RPM or something.
It's a fucking
it just
zing motor,
sings.
yeah.
It sings.
But doesn't it feel like it's dragging an anchor after you drive the 2 a little bit?
It feels a little lighter.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me. I'm
That's
an
you.
asshole.
It feels a little lighter. And it is a little lighter because you don't have the intercoolers and things like that. The GT2's got a distilled water tank up on the nose just to spray in the intercoolers. I mean, it's overkill.
that kind of stuff.
But it hauls ass. I was doing like 170 something down the back straight.
You crossed the kink at like 170.
Yeah, I was scared to death. I mean, it was literally. It was.
Remember,
like,
were you there for ZR1 at Road Atlanta? For C7 ZR1?
No, I did not do that.
C7 ZR1, they, at Road Atlanta, this is a fucking monster of a car. It wants
And
to
you go
jump
down
out
that
of its
hill
own
and you're like-
wheels. Yeah, it's so scary. A riot, but really, really terrifying. And I did like a 10-lap session in the ZR1 and almost got used to it, right? But then I got back in a Grand Sport afterwards and ran there like, you want to go out in the Grand Sport? Fuck yeah, go out. The Grand Sport was like a Miata afterwards. And that must have been actually like the 3RS must have been like, oh, I can kind of be really aggressive with this car
Well, the
now.
2 hauled ass up the hill. The 2 didn't even feel the hills.
yeah.
And the 3 was like, okay, I'm going up a hill now. There's a gradient outside, and but it's just and the sound coming. One's muffled by the turbochargers.
Yeah.
Turbochargers. Do quiet the exhaust, but
I don't think. I mean, the two. It sounds like a Porsche turbo, but it doesn't sound like anything particularly
no.
special to me. Whereas the 3 does really sound very rowdy.
It sounds like wastegate dump
Yeah.
mixed with exhaust. So there's so much boost coming out that it's like this. I don't know how to, it's like afterburner.
Yeah.
It sounds like afterburner. It doesn't sound like a car engine at that point when it's at wide open throttle.
The 720S on the track is like that too. It's
I
just
love
like
I
rushing
love
of
the
air.
720.
How do you not? It's the fucking best thing ever.
And the 720, and to me, the 720 felt quicker than the GT2 RS. But the GT2 RS, when I was mid-corner, you could apply the power, and all that weight on its ass, it just stuck, and the 720 would start to get a little twitchy.
Yeah. Oh, the my experiment just proved correct.
You
started to
typed
type in
720
720 and it switched the screens. Yeah. Oh God, be still my heart for you, 720. Come back to me.
This. And the 720 is one of those cars that's gorgeous to look at, but you got to drive it. It's just so insanely fast. It's wicked.
It's
and you're getting going 20 or 30 miles an hour, and you just mash it, and the boost builds as you get faster.
Like
so
when
it
you
doesn't feel like
upshift and it pulls harder.
It doesn't feel like it's falling. Right. Yeah. Every other car in the world, you get in there second, third, fourth, fifth, and it slows down the faster it goes. The 720 is the opposite. It's like someone flipped it around and it gets faster.
The only other place I've seen that happen is actually the Hennessy Venom GT. Remember that thing? And that was a manual too, and there was a significance. Like it was a pretty hard jump from like second to third to fourth, and it really got crazy.
That's on the way to Palm Springs, isn't it?
That's off like the 74, one of those. I love that road. It's a phenomenal road.
They closed it because the fire burned a lot of that road.
What's your, let's see, what else is happening in the world of cars? What's your take on on the mobility situation here in California? Have you fucked with the scooters yet?
No, I don't do the scooters.
Dude, you got to.
I saw them all laid all around your neighborhood, though.
Yeah.
I want to get out and trip on one and get a lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, good luck. But
they're like trash. I saw one on the freeway the other day.
Yeah,
I was
like
literally
litter.
going down like the 5, and there was a bird scooter between the 2 and 3 lane.
That's hilarious.
And everyone was
Probably
swerving.
fell off a truck
and
or
it's one of those
something.
things where you see the people swerve in front, and you're like, it's like they're opening a wake. So I swerved, and I'm like, shit, that was a bird scooter.
It probably fell off a truck. The secondary economy of chargers. I'm riding this thing. You see this in my...
I saw that out in the other room.
Yeah, so this is a vintage electric.
Now I saw you posted the other day. There it is,
Dude. This is
10
from my
million
Instagram.
%. You need a helmet.
Yeah, I didn't wear one today. But you probably should wear one. It goes 35 miles an hour.
That's hauling
so
ass.
fast. And I
don't
here,
think you could pedal a bike 35 miles an
can't. I
hour.
mean-
just like a mountain bike.
like
not
Lance
geared.
Armstrong could on a road bike.
But it's a road bike.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
don't-
yeah.
On a
No.
mountain bike, if you're
No.
doing 30 miles an hour, you're spinning as fast as you can.
I had a mountain bike. I still have a mountain bike that I ride all the time, and my max on it is like 17.
Right.
This is flying. I
And it's
pass
got-
cars on this sometimes, and I'm trying today. This is my first time riding it here and riding it home. I'm hoping I make it home. It says I have 3/4 charge left after getting here.
How far will it go?
They say 50 miles, but but not in the same. But they kind of looked. They were like, look, if you're going like max speed the whole way, it's really more like 20 or 25. Because like obviously the faster you go. But it has regen. It has regenerative braking, which is pretty cool. It has these lovely.
It's in the hub in the rear.
It's in the hub in the rear. It has these beautiful LED head and tail lights, which are like dark sensing, so they automatically come on at dark.
A bike with automatic headlights.
And the hand grips are like these, and the seat are this really beautiful leather. Go pick it up when we leave. It's got to be 40, 50 pounds. Getting that thing, the downside of one of these things, if you have to go up a set of stairs, oh, God help you.
Yeah, because a light road bike is like 15 to 20 pounds. A mountain bike's like 25 to 30. A downhill bike's like 35 pounds.
This is
and
so
that's probably 40
heavy.
or 50 pounds.
Yeah, I haven't weighed it, but if it was 50, I wouldn't be surprised. It's all metal.
And what do the pedals actually work, or are they just like aesthetically pleasing?
They work to the extent that if the battery dies completely, you can pedal it home. It's geared like a beach cruiser, so you could probably only go 6 or 7 miles an hour with the pedals. But like if it dies, you can pedal it home. Like it is a functional.
But then you're hauling 50 pounds of bike.
No, you have a shit ride. And they gave me 2 of them actually. The other one is slightly different. The other one doesn't look quite as cool. Looks a little more like a mountain bike. Still has this sort of motorcycle engine shaped battery pack, but it's a pedal assist one. So rather than this one straight up has a throttle, like on the thumb. The other one, it's the same speed, but it has a gear set in the back. So you have different gears, and it's a little more mountain bikey. It has a front suspension fork, and when you're pedaling it, like it's not like at first they described it as it's like you have to pedal, but like it makes you Superman, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like it just gives
they
you.
call it like a assist.
Yeah, pedal assist.
Right.
But how it really works is if you're moving those pedals at all, it detects that you're moving the pedals and it gives you full fucking beans. So you pedal like this. My feet are going like this. You pedal slow. Let's call it a revolution every 2 to 3 seconds, and you're going 24, 25 miles an hour. Mobbing with the pedals themselves, like no resistance. You're just pedaling in air.
Oh, so you're not even pushing.
You're not even pushing it at all.
The gears.
No.
And does it have front shocks?
The other one, the pedal assist one, does. This one does not. They just
so this is a hardtail.
This is a hard. Yeah. This one goes 35 with a hardtail, and honestly.
And those look like straight forks. I mean, most
are.
bikes, when I was like my Schwinn Stingray had the curved forks. They absorbed.
It's not curved. It's angled a little, but it's not curved. If I have any criticism about this bike, at this performance level and price point, it should have suspension. Like front at least.
It's got auto dimming headlights.
Yeah, it should have a front suspension. And they have a new one that's just came out or is about to come out that is basically this, but has a front suspension.
Does it have CarPlay?
No,
I'm kidding.
But the wheels ones do. It's funny you said that because those wheels things which are the little bikes that like bird scooters, but they're little bikes, have Bluetooth speakers on them that you could play your phone on.
Because that's what we want: more distracted people
Dude,
on
it's
scooters.
It's better that than wearing headphones. Headphones is bad.
Yeah.
At least on a reason. Oh, here's a sort of. That's kind of a picture.
I sold my 930 about a year and a half ago, and I've been envious of your G Series forever.
Do you want to do a Safari or just of a G Series car in general?
I like your Safari.
They're so fun.
The Safari's cool.
Lee's list is
Mine,
very long.
930
right
was just geared 4-speed manual, just geared way too tall for Southern California.
Yeah, those 4-speed cars are tough to drive in traffic.
It was a pain in the ass.
Did you see this? This is Lee's Safari Turbo. This is a.
So what year is that? Like a 79?
I don't know, but it is a real 930. It is a 3-liter turbo, and it is a 4-speed car.
So a 3-liter would be one of the first ones. I don't know if he's got an intercooler or not, but those are sweet.
It makes 480 horsepower. It fucking goes, and it's a 4-speed. And I said to Lee, like, tell me about the 4-speed and the off-roading, because I figured that like wouldn't really work.
Would suck.
And he goes, no, you don't get it. He goes, you know how in your Safari, meaning mine,
you got a 5-speed, right?
I have a G50 car, which is great. But in the slow speed stuff, I do have to go to first sometimes. In this,
You just keep it.
you're in first all the time. You never have to go to second because the red line on this car in first is like 58. So he's like, when you're off-roading in this, you're just in first all the time. And he said it's actually quite lovely.
My 930 on like Decker was in first gear.
Yeah.
And I would just hang it in first gear the whole time.
Fucking Magnus came down here and his 930 not too long ago. Here's Rick Ingram's Safari from Brumos. Looks rad.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Magnus came down here in one of his 930s and sat in traffic the whole time. Mate, I was just in first gear for fucking 2 hours, mate. Look at this interior Lee just finished. The dogs, dude. That I'm so bummed that I don't have that.
You can
I'm not.
redo it.
I'm not. I love my interior, but these dogs are the shit. I highly recommend you get a Safari car. They're really fun. It's the most fun daily driver ever. This is Lee's newest build.
I'm running out of places to park
Electric
cars.
blue. Acid blue, maybe? I think
I'll
it's
park it in your garage.
I got you. West Side Collector Car Storage coming soon. This was today. I just went over there. We got these. These are the vertical posts for
So
the
how
lifts.
many you got stack 3 high? 2
Four.
high? 4 high?
Those quads. Look, this is a human down here.
I know, what,
38
I know
feet.
what a human looks
It's
like.
38 feet tall. I know, but a lot of people miss this human.
Oh, they think it's like a mannequin.
Yeah. No, it's 38 feet tall, and you're stacking 4. And I got 18 of them.
Holy shit.
It's going to be badass. I'm so excited. Yeah, if you got cars to store in LA,
what
hit
do you
me
got?
up.
September?
September, we're opening. Yeah, it's going to be real cool.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and the new podcast studio is going to be great.
Oh, is it going to have a studio built in?
So upstairs in
the
the
office
offices,
area?
we are building a podcast studio, and it's going to be with right next to the members' lounge. So the members can chill and drink scotch and shit while we're recording. It'll be nice. That on-air light thing happening. You know what I mean?
So on the way over here, I was listening to one of your old podcasts, and you said, "What is one of the crappiest cars you've ever driven?"
Oh yeah,
And I was thinking, I was thinking, and I started to remember years and years ago when I was in college. I went to Cal Poly up in San Luis Obispo. I worked for Hertz Rent a Car, and we'd rent Mercury Topazes and some real
My parents had
crap
a Topaz
stuff.
when I was younger.
I'm sorry, and
Piece of shit.
but we also rented something called a Pontiac Lemans.
Oh yeah,
And this was back, I think it was Korean made.
like the
a-
'80s one, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not those are
No,
gorgeous
no.
compared to this thing. Probably like a
like
19.
this. Like
Yes. Yeah. That's probably what they
Here,
look like.
How about this? I'll give
So-
you a more complimentary picture.
Yeah. 1988, late 80s, and it was the
Wasn't this
Pontiac Lemans, and it was hands down the biggest piece of shit. And I thought, someday I'd top it. Just slow, uncomfortable, just
But
a miserable
I-
car. That's not the U.S. spec, though.
No, that's an Opel Kadett,
Yeah.
which is what the Pontiac Le Mans actually was.
But I think deep down inside it was a Korean car.
it was what was it?
Because that's the U.S. version.
That's the U.S. version from the junkyard. Pontiac Le Mans. Let's see.
Let's see.
1966, 77, 88 to 93.
Yeah,
The
it's a Daewoo.
It's a Daewoo Le Mans. Oh, God.
It was a horrible, horrible car. Like the white walls. Oh, like one white wall.
One white
Because
White-
those
it has
are the
white wall.
driven wheels. They must be white walls. And the nice hubcaps.
Oh, no. Sold in America and New Zealand markets until 1993. What a shitbox.
I mean, I don't know who the hell would buy that thing, but it was just the biggest
really
piece of shit. So I
sad
figured if you're
car.
going to ask me that, I'm going to go Pontiac Lemans.
That's a good one. Should we
It
get to
was
some
just-
questions? We've got some questions.
just a piece of crap.
If you guys want to get some questions in the super chat for us live folks, get them in now. I'm going to close the super chat in 5 minutes. So we got a few in here. What do we got going on? Nick Alain, like Alain Prost, says, I'm in LA on Monday and Tuesday for an interview. Should I go to the Mullen or the Peterson? Well, the Peterson is close and Mullen is far. Mullen's not in LA. It's in Oxnard.
Right. Mullen is actually right around the corner from my house.
Mullen is
But
amazing.
then again, I may as well live in Canada
if
at this
you've got
point.
the time, Mullen rules, but definitely go to the Peterson.
But there's a
if
different
you're in
vibe.
town.
There's a different vibe in both. Mullen is serene and very violinish and just gorgeous, spectacular lighting. And the Peterson is more bring your family, check the things out. It's you can be loud and you can yell at people. But I think they're both worth it.
Of 100%.
But like you said, the Mullen and the Peterson are about 2 hours apart.
Yeah,
as far as
don't
don't look on a map and say, oh, 36 miles. We can do one for breakfast, catch lunch. No, this is one's it's LA.
Yeah. And he also says, I own 3 cars and I rent and I need to garage at least one. How do LA people do it?
Well, I bought a house with a 3-car garage.
It's tough. You can live out where he lives, or you can live where I live and store your cars at Westside Collector Car
call out.
Storage. If you're in West LA, Matt at westsidecollectorcarstorage.com. Let's see. Riley says, do I recommend the other sporty car rental apps similar to Turo for the Seattle area? Are there any other car apps for renting besides? So there's Haggerty has the drive share thing. I don't know if it's available in all places.
I don't know what's available in Seattle. What you got to do is just get online and start Googling out.
Well, should we look? Let's see. Let's find out. Seattle. Let's do some Google food.
Don't hit a 2 or 3 or a 1.
Seattle sports car rental. Do we have anything? BMW and Minis, Seattle, exotic car collection. I mean, you can actually... Oh, you have a Sixt in Seattle?
Oh, Sixt is great.
Sixt has good cars.
Sixt is good. European
When I'm
based.
in Europe, I only rent from Sixt. Not a paid endorsement. I actually do like them.
I rent from Sixt also, no endorsement either.
Yeah. I would... Sixt, what I like about them is there's no or similar.
Right, you get the car you reserve.
If you say F-Pace, you get an F-Pace.
You're not picking color, but you will get your F-Pace.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. So I would look at that. I don't know about any peer-to-peer apps besides Turo, though. Sorry. And DriveShare for Haggerty for vintage cars, maybe or not, maybe not available in your city. Swervin' 08, what's a better daily driver? A new Accord Sport 2.0T or a used Charger RT, 60 miles per day in the Chicago area. Need to fit 3 kids in the back, upgrading from a Focus ST.
I know what I would take.
What would you take?
The more I commute, the more I like mass and weight, and I like quietness. And I think the Charger's going to be a little quieter.
The Charger?
Yeah. Because the Accord will be a little lighter, a little louder, more acoustic brightness
Just
to it.
road noise to it?
Just road noise. And I think, I think you'll be more comfortable in the Charger.
I actually concur. Make sure you get a 13 and up, 14 and up. When they got the 8-speed, you want
definitely with the
1,000% the post refresh Charger,
and you'll look cooler in a Charger too.
Yeah, and if you can get one of the cool enthusiast ones, like the Super B ones or whatever those tend to hold their value.
I don't see anything in there saying I need fuel economy or fuel efficiency.
Don't they have cylinder deactivation on the RTs?
Sure.
Duffman can't breathe. I sold my 78,000 mile E46 M3 and got a new Civic Si 4-door. Help me feel okay. You're not going to spend much on maintenance, probably.
You're right.
2017 Civic Si. That's pre-turbo, right? Call up Emmanuel at NA Performance here in LA and get yourself a Roots supercharger. Thing will be fucking mobbing. Coilovers, lightweight wheels and tires, supercharger, mobbing.
E46 M3.
I know.
That's a lot of people.
It says help me feel okay.
That's my son's dream car.
Help me feel okay. That's your son's dream car? I'm glad his dream car is so attainable. Yeah. That's lovely. My dream cars were always way out there.
Unobtainable.
Yeah.
The Civic Si is a great little car.
They're pretty fun.
It's going to be super reliable.
Best
you can
shifter
save
in
your
the
money
business.
And buy your E46 back.
Yeah, I mean, if you drive that for a while and save some money on the side and don't spend it on maintenance, you could buy another BMW like E30, like Canyon Rat car, maybe. I think maybe
they're both good cars. No complaints.
I think when my building's done, is it bad that I keep saying no more builds, but I keep wanting to do builds?
No, builds are fun. They're addictive.
I want to do a pretty basic build. I want to do an E30 sedan or wagon.
Okay.
With an S52
or
S50, probably maybe S50, maybe a 4, but probably an S52.
That'd be a pretty sweet setup.
Yeah,
and it would fly.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. We're talking.
But it would also be like not annoying
to
drive. But no, it would be not annoying to drive around
because they're very comfortable cars.
Yeah.
They're actually the
they're
outside
spacious.
is physically small, but the doors are so thin. You have so much room in the inside of them.
I drove an
big
E30, literally like a shitbox challenge for Drive on NBC Sports, and I fucking loved it. It was great.
I wonder if you could put the flares from a M3 on an E30 sedan.
Oh, you could. Yeah, I mean, now we're doing body work. Yeah, now it's becoming a thing. But yes, it's possible. I know the guy to do it too. I know a guy who turned an E46
Like a touring.
E46 wagon M3 he
Yeah,
built.
a
Mark
touring.
Norris here in LA. He's like the M3 guy, and he's got one. It's fucking.
I've seen
sick.
an E39 M5 touring.
Yes, that's hot.
And I love
They just
E39
sold
M5.
one on Bring a Trailer that was like a replica, but it was a really, really good one. I'll find it for you because it sold for a shitload of money. Let's see. E39 M5 Touring. It was... No?
I guess not.
E39 M5? Where was that touring? What happened to it? Maybe they didn't
Was
put
it a 540?
Yeah, it must have been a 540 touring. Maybe that's why
Now, they
don't-
actually sold a 540 touring.
Yes, they did. But
was
someone
a
had
factory
turned it
car.
into an M5. That.
Oh, M5 swap.
Yeah.
So it's got the NA 5-liter
That's
V8.
from 2017.
That's a good price, by
Well,
the way.
but well, it was
back in
it's a
2017.
very 2017 price, isn't it? It's not a
so
2019
the price is what,
price.
17 grand it went for or something?
27
25
grand. Oh my god, I would have 1,000% bought this
And
car
look
for
how clean it is.
It's so nice.
It's
I would have
mint.
bought.
It's a great color.
I totally would have bought that for fucking 25.
and it's a
That
good,
rules.
clean swap.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
nice.
some bastardized
That shit's
car.
doable. That's doable. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So I may do a BMW build at some point. It's tempting. Dylan says I'm moving from Jersey to Sacktown in a few weeks. Anything I should know about? The Sacramento Auto Museum is very charming. Go check that out. Anything I should know about weird road laws and regulations?
It depends what you're bringing over.
Lane splitting's legal here. Don't be mad at people who do it, and watch for it.
Watch in your mirrors for the bikes.
Get used to looking out for lane splitters for sure. And up north, you got Thunder Hill up there. You got
Yeah, some good
beautiful
tracks.
roads.
Drive
by
up the Tahoe. Some
Hell
gorgeous
yeah.
stuff up there.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And can you still, is that car collection still at Harrah's? Is the Harrah collection still there? Or is it completely
Up in
dispersed
Reno?
In Reno.
I'm not sure.
I would look for that in Reno. Reno's fucking fun. Reno, I don't know how Reno became like a joke, like a punchline.
I would move
but
to
it
Reno.
shouldn't be because it rules.
I would move to Reno. There's some
I
beautiful
kind of
roads
would,
up
too.
there. You've got the Nevada laws as far as income tax and
Yeah.
things like that, and it's still very free spirit.
And you can drive 45 minutes to Tahoe to go skiing. That
And you can
rules.
haul ass on those roads.
Yes. They had, remember that Reno Fernley
We're
Raceway
plugging
they
Reno.
had for a minute?
The Reno
love
Tourism
Reno.
District.
I would love to take their money. Let's see. Vlad says, I recommended you a 981 Boxster Spyder, but I went and got a Lotus Exige V6 instead, so I won't ask for car buying advice. All right. Meta question. What makes a good super chat? Don't ask car advice. Ask other things of the guest besides car advice. That's what makes a good
Now,
super chat.
interestingly enough, I have a 987 Boxster Spyder.
Do you?
And,
Is that
The
first
super
or-
light. It's the
That's
first
the first one,
generation,
yeah,
the
yeah.
one with that really finicky roof. But I've never even put the,
The
roof up
tent-
because
the
it's
tent roof?
But it sits in the roof is stored away. But what a fun little freaking car! I put cup twos on it, and it's manual, and it's got the carbon fiber bucket seats, and it weighs about 2,800 pounds, 320 horsepower, naturally aspirated
bet.
3.2.
I bet
And
that
I just
is
drove it
so
yesterday.
great.
It is a freaking blast.
I bet that's
And I
great.
love the thing.
Are these sufficiently depreciated yet?
Yeah, I'm making money. And I've
you?
already made probably 10 grand on it.
Are
I only
you?
bought it a year ago. Now they're going up.
Now they're
so
going up,
they
yeah.
bought them now to like mid 40s,
Okay.
and now they're starting to crawl back up.
that's
And
a
now
lot
they
of
announced the
car
new
for
Spider.
mid-40s.
Now and it's GT2 doors, aluminum trunk. I mean, it's just and
That's
the lightest
lovely.
wheels Porsche had ever made up to that point.
Aren't those like 996 GT3 wheels? Kind
No,
of?
they're even lighter. They're called Spider wheels. Now the downside is if you hit a curb, you're going to bend them.
Oh.
But they're
What do they cost? Dare I
I don't
ask?
know.
It's a lovely car. What color is yours?
Mine's black with silver.
That's good. I like that.
And I found it up in Oregon.
Have you ever
stole it off
wished you
some
had
old
a
guy?
roof?
No, never.
Not once?
Never once.
That's fucking
Once
great.
I was up on Angeles Crest, and I think I was getting sunburned to the point where I was looking like a raisin. And
Yeah.
I opened up the trunk and put the bikini top on it, and then I didn't care anymore.
I think I would like to have you know what would maybe be fun? What about an E30 convertible build?
That'd be fun.
Have you ever driven E30
I
convertible?
think an
Are they
E30
flimsy and
convertible
flexy?
I was just going to say, I think an E30 convertible would be a noodle.
Yeah, me too. I
I
gotta
just
drive
think
one.
in that era, because I remember even my E30 was pretty flexible, and a 911 Cabriolet of that era is just like a wet noodle.
Yeah.
I don't think this is before CAD CAM manufacturing, and I think
They just
most
put some
most
bars
cars,
there.
I mean, I used to laugh that I had an Audi 5000, and I'd jack up one corner, and I'd open the door to get something. And then I'd go to shut the door, and the door would be off by like a half inch.
Yeah.
And my dad'd say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to shut the door." And you'd have to lower the car to shut the door again.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
And you wondered why no one survived a car
Maybe
crash.
the sedan. Yeah.
So
Cars and Comments says, I just finished a 5-day rally school at Team O'Neill. Oh, I bet that was great. Huge amount of fun. Learned a ton about car control. As you do. I always say your first driving school, unless you specifically are going to get a racing license, you should do rally school. Because the car is never straight. It's always sideways.
It goes back to our talk about rain on the track days.
Yeah, but at a rally school,
Right. You're supposed to be going sideways.
They don't
Right.
put walls and shit there. They make it great. I fucking love rally school. What driving school would you recommend next if you've already done Team O'Neill? I mean, you can go with a tarmac one. Start down the tarmac road. I don't even know who's doing good driving schools.
A lot of the driving schools are closed down.
So where do people go?
You can go to BMW Club, Porsche Club. A lot of the Miata clubs, they will have instructors, and you can bring your own cars out there.
So just track days with instructors.
Just track days with instructors, and just listen to what they have to say.
Yeah,
and just follow their advice, because even the most novice beginner will learn something.
I agree with that sentiment. If Cars and Comments has a sports car and can get to track days, you could definitely do that, and it's a cheaper way than committing to a whole school. I honestly haven't looked into the schools. I know someone bought out the rights to Skip Barber and is running it again with Mustangs. I don't know how well they're doing, although I know that a couple people, one person included, has a bit of a sour taste in their mouth because they had booked a school at Skip Barber pre-bankruptcy, and they never got their money back,
and they cleaned their slate.
Yeah, and they never got their money back, and they never got to do. And the new school wouldn't honor them, so I'm a bit sore on that for my friend.
My son he's got an 18 GTI, and I bought him a second set of wheels and tires.
Yeah,
and he tracks it on
the
second set of wheels and tires. So he comes home, puts the all seasons back on, drives around LA, and then that's the only. As long as you're semi nice to your car, the only thing you're really going to do is chew up the tires and maybe go through a set of brakes.
Yeah, you can totally take your car to track days if you like.
Totally,
just pay attention to a few things. Yeah. I don't have another school for you. I love Dirtfish outside of Seattle. If you want to go with another rally type experience, Dirtfish is the jam. But that's all I got for you. James says, Safari plus backcountry discovery route. Have you seen these backcountry discovery routes?
No.
So the backcountry discovery routes, for people who like off-roading, backcountry discovery route. These are some routes that are mainly for motorcycles.
Those are cool.
Mainly for motorcycles, but also totally doable in cars. And I'm telling you, every one of these,
your Safari.
My Safari could do I think pretty much. Like I did the Utah.
Are they wide enough?
Yeah. I did the Utah one. So we went from Phoenix all the way up through Utah to Idaho. I did it in a stock Previa, like a fucking Toyota Previa. The Washington one, we did in a 1987 Tercel and drove into Canada. So like it's doable. And we had and in the Utah one, I had a totally stock F-150 FX4 as a support vehicle, and in the Washington one, we had a totally stock Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland as a support vehicle, and both of those vehicles were totally fine. So these routes are amazing. They cross entire states without using pavement. And they are fucking so beautiful, and I cannot wait to do the Colorado one, and I cannot wait to do the Idaho one. And we are waiting for them to finish the California one. They have not finished it yet.
I can only imagine. I was up in Jackson Hole last weekend and actually drove the family home from Jackson Hole and went through Zion. And everything like that. It was beautiful.
In what?
You're not supposed to.
The Accord?
No, Chrysler Pacifica minivan.
Oh yeah, rental, right?
No, it was a trip. It was a manufactured trip.
Oh, so family press trip.
Chrysler put everyone to Jackson Hole and handed everyone the keys and said, "Hey, go back home."
No
One guy drove to
way.
Miami, people went to New York, Atlanta, and I drove back to
No
LA.
way.
And
How about that?
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
I bet. And going that road through Zion from the
was
east
gorgeous.
down through
Yeah,
the
it was
main
gorgeous.
exit is extraordinary.
It was gorgeous.
So anyway,
That's pretty cool.
these are great. I'm not necessarily taking the Safari on this route. However, Mr. Lee Keen, builder of these Safaris, is putting together a West Coast. He's got his East Coast Safari Rally this year. I can't quite make it to that one. We're doing a West Coast one next year in which many of these Safari owners will ship their cars out, and we're going to do it all together. I don't know the exact route, but it's going to be West Coast, and I'm going to be on that one. So there you go. John, oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, my God. Elliot, casual restaurant recommendations in L.A., Venice. Oh, my God. Felix. Eat at Felix. It's so good. If you can get a reservation, eat at Felix. If not, go to the Whaler in Venice. That's my spot. I love the Whaler. The food is, the chef is one of the, like, experts on bar rescue. Last question. Did I ever meet, Brendan says, did I ever meet Buster? What does that mean?
Is
Did you ever meet
is this reference to Kelley Blue Book? I grew
Oh.
up with Kelly's name, which was sold over a decade
Oh,
ago.
that's a Kelley Blue Book question.
I
I'm
believe
sorry.
this is the one of the founders. Kelley Blue Book was actually founded in L.A. Over about 100 years ago. And it was a guy that was trying to figure out there was no market for used cars and no valuation. So he went out and figured out, hey, these are, basically came up with a list and
Yeah.
said, this is how much used cars are worth. And it became Kelley's list, Kelley's Blue Book list. And but I've only been with Kelley Blue Book for 3 years. And before that, I was at the Autoblog, AutoWeb, JD Power. And
Yeah, I don't even really think of you as Kelley Blue Book.
yeah,
so
I
much.
don't really, I don't know. I've never met the Kellys or anything
Can
like
you
that.
explain JD Power and Associates to me? Because you were there. What are who and what are they and what do they do exactly?
So JD Power and Associates was founded by Dave Power many years ago, and he sold the company a little over 10 years ago. And then the car was, I think, was sold to McGraw Hill, and the company was once again sold to an investment firm. And what they do is they send out surveys and they figure out quality indexes and reliability reports and things like that. And they sell their data to automakers who get to brag about the results.
Yeah, how much
and
do
they
they
buy the trophies.
they have to pay for the trophies.
And they
right?
pay for the trophies. Yeah. So everybody's a little different. Consumer Reports surveys its members
Yeah.
who pay to subscribe to be surveyed. And, everyone does it differently.
How do you like it at Kelley Blue Book?
I love Kelley Blue Book. They're a lot of fun. It's a family-owned business, Cox Automotive. It's one of the Cox Automotive divisions, along with Auto Trader and Dealer.com. We also own Manheim Auctions and trucking companies and financing companies.
That's pretty fun, right?
And
if you're like you've got the Manheim guide,
right.
See, that's
I've got
mine.
access to everything. And the nice thing about Kelley Blue Book, it's a very well-known name. It's very friendly, family friendly. Still get to drive a bunch of cool cars. And I've got a great team. Work with Lynn. No, it's a lot of fun. The commute sucks.
That is a
but
terrible.
that said,
do you have to go to the office every day?
no, I don't go to the office every
Okay.
day. Maybe 10 times a month.
Okay,
You know.
that's bad,
So
but that's not the
yeah,
worst.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
week I'll go in today. I'll go in tomorrow. My son, I'm going to go visit a college with my son tomorrow or on Wednesday.
Where's he looking at schools?
He got accepted to USC and Pepperdine.
Oh, shit.
And so he was.
Are
at
you very religious?
No, not
I
at all.
thought Pepperdine's like a super Jesus
It
school.
is. It's super. It just.
It's also a country club, by the way.
So I'll ask.
Fucking Pepperdine.
Let's
I
have to
drive
listen.
by it every time I go to the canyons in Malibu.
So my son's not going to like this, but he graduated with honors from high school and went back to Purdue in Indiana.
Okay.
But being a Southern California kid moving to Indiana, he just went into major culture shock and just imploded on himself.
Yeah.
And he came home and he said, "Daddy, going to be pissed if I go to junior college because I want to transfer to a California school."
Yeah.
And so I said, "Go for it." So he stayed home. And
I
said, I said,
understand
"If you
that
stay home,"
position.
I said, "If you stay home, I'll buy you a new car." So I bought him a GTI because it saves me money.
Yeah.
And so now he worked his ass off, got accepted to USC and Pepperdine.
Well, those are good
And
schools.
they're both about the same amount of insane money. So we're going to go visit SC on Wednesday, and he's going to make a decision by the end of the week.
There you go. Well,
So we'll see.
L'chaim.
But
Congratulations.
that said,
though.
I'm going to go to the office today, tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Next week I'll go in twice. I'm also on the road an awful lot. I'm in Europe 5 times.
Are you still doing the
year.
press launch circuit?
I'm doing a lot of press launch stuff, and because I need to have my my fingers in the pot, whatever the expression is. But you've got to drive all the cars.
Yeah.
And I'm driving everything, like I said, from Corollas and Nissan Versa Notes to the Bentleys and the
Are you able
Rollses.
to go on the launch for a Versa Note and find the joy in a Versa Note, or are you just kind of
Joy is a
are you
tough word.
autopiloting that? at
I'm
this
not
point?
finding joy. I'm finding I'm satisfied and just trying to figure out what it is and what makes it tick.
Yeah.
By the time you get into a Nissan Versa Note, it's someone that's looking for something new.
Yeah.
And you and I both know that a used Honda Accord is probably a better buying choice because
Totally.
the depreciation is always there,
Yeah, and you
already
get
there.
physically more
Right.
stuff, and it'll
But-
probably be just as.
But there are
reliable.
people, you have to remember, there are people out there right now that, their entire life they waited for a new car, and maybe they only make a certain amount of money, or they only have a certain amount of money that they can spend on a car payment, and maybe this is their chance to get a new car.
Yeah.
And they're going to buy a Mitsubishi or a Nissan Versa Note or something like that. And
Fair.
so, and Nissan Versa Notes come with keyless entry and Apple CarPlay. So,
Which
but
the
but they
Huracan-
don't
which-
have automatic headlights, which is what your bike has. So
That's true. Wow. And on that, I'm going to ride my vintage electric bike home. That's awesome, man. Follow Mike Harley at Michael Harley on Instagram.
just one long word,
And
Michael
of
Harley.
course, read his joint at KelleyBlueBook.com. I can't wait to read your Javagan review. Did you like the Javagan ultimately?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. It's not the first set of keys I'm going to grab, but
The
I get it.
E63 wagon wheels on this are really bizarre.
Those are 22-inch wheels.
They're E63 wheels. What are they doing? Especially with the popularity of like
it sounds so good with the quad exhaust.
I get
Oh my
that.
gosh.
But especially with the popularity of like off-roady shit now,
Right.
like you could AMG-ify it in that direction instead of, I don't care. I'm not going to complain about the G-Wagon. Thanks for coming, Harley. Enjoy your commute.
Thanks-
home.
thanks for
Sorry
having
to
me.
sorry to turn
I'm going
you
through
loose.
Malibu on the way home. It'll be a beautiful
Oh, it'll be
drive.
lovely.
It'll be a
the traffic will
nice
be done.
drive.
Thanks for coming. I'm back for the live, folks. I'm back with a double header tomorrow. I got 1 p.m. My friend Tristan Eaton is an incredible street artist who does literally the sides of buildings, stadiums, like 100 feet tall. And he's also a car guy. He's the one who turned my Mini into an art car back in 2008. It was really, really cool, actually. And then at 5 p.m., I have Lynn Woodward and Aaron Robinson on the show. They're going to talk about the anniversary at Normandy, which they attended, Lamborghini maintenance, and probably fucking buses, because it's Aaron Robinson. And, oh, no, Aaron Gold, we end up talking about buses.
Aaron Gold's the bus
Robinson,
guy.
we talk about
Ambulances and
ambulances
Jeeps.
from World War II.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Harley. Have a safe trip. See you soon, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you all for listening. We love you.